You're listening to the Vibrant Vision Podcast, a podcast designed to help you get clarity, increase your confidence, and cultivate the most important connections so you can have the impact you were created to make. I'm your host, Amanda Kerrigan. Now let's get to making that vibrant vision a reality. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Vibrant Vision Podcast. I'm so glad you joined me today because today we are kicking off a brand new series on confidence killers. I've been coaching people for a couple years now on achieving their vibrant visions, really going after their dreams of starting a new business or building a ministry. And a lot of times we set the vision, they're pumped, we set some goals, they're like, yeah, we can do this. And then it comes time to take the first big action on their goals. And they're like, I can't do it. I'm not doing that. And the biggest reason is I don't feel confident. And I hear this a lot, especially with my clients who are women. I hear it a little bit with men, but a lot of times with women. And it hurts my heart because ladies, we have a lot to offer. And so that's why I'm super excited about this 8-week series on confidence killers and eliminating those confidence killers. Maybe not all the way, because let's face it, like the one that we're talking about today, I still face. Every time I publish an episode of this podcast, I'm like, I hate my voice. I hate everything about this, but I don't let it stop me. So how can we lessen the impact of these confidence killers so that they no longer affect us? And that's really the question that we're answering. So the first confidence killer that I want to share with you today and help you maybe jump that hurdle just enough to take the first actions or the next actions on your big, hairy, audacious goals is, what will other people think? Now, a lot of times we have people who are in our lives and they should be allowed to have at least some thought on what we do. For example, if you want to take a 3-month backpacking trip across Europe and you're not taking your kids, and they're still at home and they still need care, that would probably require you to consider what someone else might think because they are going to be impacted in a big way by that decision. That's right and good. We should think about the people who are going to be affected, whether good or bad, by our decisions, and we should care about what they think. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the collective they, the big they out there. What will they think? These are some people who should have some maybe pull or effect or opinion in our lives, but maybe not on this topic. Things like, I want to quit my job and launch my business finally, but the people at church probably won't approve of that, but they'll judge me. Or I feel called to missionary work. I know I have this strong call on my life, but my parents won't approve because I got this degree and I feel stuck in a career because my family is not going to approve of me going overseas and doing missionary work. Things like that, where you know you have a strong calling, you have a purpose, and yet people are speaking into your lives and being naysayers. Maybe they haven't even said anything to us yet, but we're projecting that onto them. And so there are 4 things that I want us to keep in mind when we're thinking, what will they think? Oh my gosh, will other people know that I'm a failure? Will other people know that I'm doing this thing that may not seem wise, but I've gotten a call in my life? So what are these 4 keys that I want us to keep in mind? Number 1, people really probably don't care about what you're doing or what you're thinking because they're more worried about themselves. I tell my 19-year-old niece this quite a bit because a lot of times it's, people are going to know I'm a failure. People are going to know that maybe I didn't pass my test on the first try, but I can pass it on the second. And I want you to think about this. How many times in the past week or so have you thought about somebody else? And then what did you think of them? Like when I launched this podcast and I started getting people saying, oh yeah, so-and-so listened to your podcast and they thought it was really great. Like somebody stopped my mom in the store. I was like, that's cool. And she probably wasn't thinking, wow, she's a loser and I hate the sound of her voice. That's my thought. But she probably thought that it was okay, maybe neutral, or maybe she thought it was really good. I don't know. But if you're like most people and you've thought about somebody in the past week, it's either neutral or it's on the positive end of the spectrum. Very rarely do we think, ugh, really? And if we do, it's usually something like somebody's Walmart outfit. I have a few Walmart outfits that I don't wear outside the house. I won't even go to Walmart in them because I'm afraid of what other people will think. But a lot of times, if we're thinking about somebody, it's positive. And so keep that in mind. People are not thinking about you as much as you are thinking about you. Okay. Number 2, people's opinions should not matter as much as we make them matter. We've been hardwired to think about what other people are going to think. After all, this is kind of a survival technique. If you were thrown out of the clan on the Serengeti, you were tiger food 10,000 years ago. Now, if people don't like your social media post, chances are you're going to live another day. I'm pretty sure. And it might hurt a little or a lot if the people we're closest to don't necessarily support our decisions. So I want to encourage you right now to surround yourself with healthy and safe people. If somebody in your world is not healthy and safe, they should not be there. People who are healthy and safe might say, oh, I'm not sure about that. Have you thought about this? And providing wisdom is not the same thing as providing judgment, because I've gotten plenty of wisdom as I'm building my business. Have you counted the costs? Because Jesus told us to count the cost before you build a tower. And so as we're building our tower, are we counting the cost? That's well and good. But if somebody doesn't necessarily approve and they're a safe person, then they will agree to disagree with you about your decision, or they will say, okay, you know what? I'm not completely on board with this, but I'm going to support you anyway. I'm going to be there for you because I believe in you, even though I'm not exactly sold on this. Okay. So the third thing, after we've determined that, A, people aren't thinking about us as much as we think about ourselves, and other people's opinions should probably not count as much as they do, or if they do count, then healthy, safe people are going to agree to disagree. The third thing is we're going to decide who gets to speak into our lives. So this works best if you're not in a place of feeling judged. If you feel judged, don't do this. Find a time when you feel pretty good, emotionally level, if not fairly joyful, and think about the people who are safe in your life and the people that have the ability to speak into your world. For me, my family is full of safe people. I have a lot of good friends who are safe, and I have some wonderfully supportive coaching colleagues who, if I picked up the phone right now, it's 7:15 right now as I'm recording this, and I said, I need some help, they would wake up and talk to me because they love me that much. I'm incredibly blessed. So chances are you have at least one or two people who you could say, you know what, I really need some help. And also coaches. I know that if I texted my coach and I said, hey, I need a call, she would make time for me because she's a safe person. Okay. I know that these people offer their thoughts with good intentions. And I also know that they know that every decision I make is my decision. And there are very few people whose opinions shape my thinking or have influence over my thinking, but we were not made to do life alone. And it wasn't always this way. I mean, I'm telling you, there's a reason I'm a confidence coach. And that reason is I have not always been confident. I have walked where you walk now. I have been where you are, where it's like, oh, what will other people think? And it stops me. One of those times was a few years ago when I was in a very unhealthy relationship. His opinion drove pretty much everything I did because I was afraid of displeasing him. I know. I know. I was afraid of displeasing him, and I was afraid that he would judge me and that he would say mean things to me. And it held me small. It kept me silent because that's where he was comfortable with me. And gradually I figured out his opinions don't matter, and they held less and less weight until one day they held no weight at all because I was like, you're not a safe person. And there are also people who speak into certain areas of my life, but not others. For example, my parents speak a lot of wisdom into my financial decisions, my decisions about what I do with my home that God has entrusted to me. But they don't speak into my life about my business. First of all, because they know they don't have that knowledge. They don't have that thought process. And they don't know anything about running a coaching business. So they know that they can't really give advice. Now, sometimes my dad will say, hey, have you considered? And this is good because my dad runs his own successful appliance repair business. Not quite the same thing, but he has a lot of business smart. And so when he asks me, have you considered? I can say, yes, I want to think about that, or nah, not really relevant. But my parents don't get to speak into my life about my business. I have friends at my job in the government who only really speak into my job about my, oh, sorry. I have friends at my job in the government who have extreme weight in what I do and how I build my career there, but also don't talk about my finances. So figure out who you want to speak into certain aspects of your vision. Who are the people that you're going to go to when it's like, oh, I'm not sure what other people are going to think? These are the only people that get to have an opinion and a say and speak into your life. The rest of them, haters gonna hate, right? So think through those areas. Your career, your finances, your business, your ministry, your romantic relationship, your kids. Who is going to speak into those areas? And all of those other voices, you can silence them. They don't matter. And finally, know that you're your own worst critic. This kind of goes along with number one. We think about ourselves more than we think about others, but we also project our own thoughts and our own insecurities onto other people. I'm afraid of failing because others are going to know I'm a failure. I'm a loser because other people are going to think I'm a loser and I can't do this. I hate the way I look in pictures because, oh my gosh, people are going to think I'm fat. And the crazy thing is, we don't even notice this happening. So here's a coaching question. What negative thoughts are you projecting onto other people? Because your voice and your negativity also does not have a right to speak into your vibrant vision. So what do we do with this? We choose a different story. We choose a different line of thinking. The story my clients often tell when I ask them, like, what are you telling yourself is like, no one is going to respect me or think I'm competent or think I'm able to do this. So I should just hide. I should just not try. I mean, yeah, this visioning process has been great, but, probably not the right time. It's not an empowering story and it's not true. So what story do you want to tell? So this is unique to you. Your own thought processes are unique to you. And so the story that you need to tell yourself is also going to be unique to you. But some things that I have told myself is I'm going to choose today to step into my purpose or to walk in my purpose, knowing that I might face criticism. I might face some haters on the internet. And those voices are not voices that need to speak into my life. Yes, they're going to hurt, but they're not going to determine my destiny. I've sought out good advice and I've made an informed decision. And I'm going to follow that advice and follow the path that I have chosen. Or maybe it's this. My family's opinion matters about my career, but not as much as God's opinion about my career or my finances or whatever. So I'm going to choose to follow what I know God has told me to do, knowing that I have had a respectful conversation with the people that mean the most to me. Because allowing yourself to own your story and being empowered to say, yes, I'm going to own my story, it shapes your reaction and allows you to have a less influential impact of any criticism you might face. So today, if you're thinking about like, what will other people think? And you're allowing that to hold you small and hold you back. Here's the thing. Other people are not thinking about you that much. Okay. Like really, if you can get to step one, that's awesome. Okay. And choose whose opinions are going to matter. Whose opinions are going to get to speak into your life. And then quit being your own worst critic. Oh my gosh, just stop it. Knock it off. Like I have a friend who specifically coaches people on this because it is such a big deal. And then tell yourself a different story. If you have been positively affected by this podcast, if I get to be one of the voices that speak into your life and speak light and truth and love into your life, and you want other people to know about this podcast, would you just leave a review? It helps me a lot when I get to reach other people who are just like you and who need that support to not let other people's opinions shape the way that they act. So if you just want to go on iTunes or Spotify and leave a review, I would be so incredibly grateful. And next week, we're going to be back talking about another confidence killer, one that, oh my gosh, I just had a coaching call this week with somebody, and I'm just really pumped because things are changing for my client, and I hope that they will be changing for you as well. So until next week, I will talk to you soon, and live your vibrant vision.